You're like Barbara Walters if Barbara Walters was bald, black, and about 237 pounds.
You've been employed here for 8 years and you can't get your bowels in order? Get the f*** out!
But I'm in the middle of...
I said get out!
Hey, this is Adam Carolla, and this is Thisis50.com.
Who is Adam Carolla?
You may remember me from The Man Show. Maybe Love Line.
Love Line.
Prank Yankers, maybe. Animated puppets, prank phone calls. Other than that, I don't know. That's a good look you got with those Charles Nelson Riley glasses and all that. That's awesome, man.
How did you get into comedy?
I got into comedy because I was working as a boxing instructor.
Boxing instructor.
Boxing instructor.
Adam Carolla can fight.
I could box, and that's what I used to do for a living. And when I was doing it, I was listening to the radio one day, and they're having one of those morning show boxing matches where they're like, the sports guy, who was Jimmy Kimmel, is going to be fighting the maintenance guy, Michael the maintenance man. And we need trainers, and we need equipment, and we need everything. I was just driving my truck, and I was like, oh man, I got to get in on this. Because I wanted to check out radio, because I always wanted to do radio. So I just drove over to the radio station, and I just banged on the door, and I said, I'm a boxing trainer. And they said, well, hold on. And I just stood out there in the hallway, and at some point, Jimmy came out, and he said, what's up? I said, I'm a boxing instructor. He said, when do you want to start? I said, let's get started today. And we got started, and I made friends with him. He lost the fight. He was no good at boxing. All we did was sit around and drink Snapple and talk about comedy.
Snapple?
Yeah. But by the end of like the 3 weeks I had to train him, he was like, you're funny, and he got me onto the radio.
When you did the Love Line, what made you feel like you were qualified to give relationship advice? Because you were really raw.
Yeah, really nothing. I always said it this way to everybody, which is, if Dr. Drew just did the show alone, it'd be too boring. You know, he needed to put a little flavor on it, and he needed me to get involved.
So what's one of the biggest misconceptions about you?
I think people think I'm just an asshole and crude and racist and homophobic and misogynist, and they think I'm everything.
Are they right?
I speak my mind, but I've never harmed another human being or done anything to hurt anyone or laid a hand on a woman or discriminated against anyone in my entire life. And we now, I tell jokes, I have opinions, and that's what I do, I do have opinions, and I do speak my mind, but we're living in a society now where they can label you as a misogynist or a homophobe or a racist, and you don't have to do anything.
You don't have to
in the past, you had to go do something. You had to physically go hurt somebody to be that. Now you tell a joke, and it's like, oh, that guy's a homophobe, or that guy's a racist. Like, what, for talking or tweeting or whatever the hell it is? That's just the way it is.
So with that being said, how do you feel about the Tracy Morgan situation?
There's two sides of it. One is, if you're going to take money from the man, if you're going to be on NBC, if you have a corporate gig, essentially, and that's what happens. When you're working for a conglomeration and they have sponsorships and they will picket and boycott and everything else, then yes, you must do that in order to keep employed. Back in the day when comedians were just comedians and they never were comedians and sitcom stars, they never apologized. So you have to apologize. As far as the content goes, I don't agree with what he said. On the other hand, he definitely has the right to say whatever the fuck he wants to say when he's on stage with the microphone in his hand. And the audience will decide whether he's crossed the line, whether he's gone too far. And also, when a comedian can't say, and again, I don't like to say speak his mind, because that's the mistake. It's like, oh, that's what he's really thinking. He really hates gay people. It's not really about speaking your mind. It's about being in the moment and trying to get a reaction from the audience in that moment. As a human being, I'm like, yeah, you shouldn't say that about people. As a comedian, I don't want people to go up on stage scared and thinking, who's got a cell phone, and is this going to end up on YouTube, and am I going to lose my job?
So what are you working on right now? What can the people look from Adam Carolla?
Well, I got a book out, paperback now, called 50 Years Wallopy Chicks, and there's a fair amount of apologizing to do about that. I got a podcast can find it on iTunes. It is usually #1, and it's AdamCarolla.com. And a TV show coming out on the Speed Channel somewhere around the middle of July, car show.
I appreciate it, man. Adam Carolla right here, man. Like I always say, you can't just say you're real. It's something you got to be. Thisis50.com. It's been real.